Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Music Den. I'm your host, Armando Venditti. Hoping you guys are having a fantastic day and that you're looking after yourselves and one another. In this episode of the Music Den, I'm going to be doing my top 8 of 81, my top 8 albums of 1981. Now, in putting this list together, it was quite a list and it goes across a lot, it crosses a lot of, I should say, a lot of musical genres. And in putting this list together, it's very difficult to know where the albums are gonna sit in terms of, if you put something at the bottom of the list, is that does that make it a bad album? Which it doesn't, essentially. But it's almost like you're doing a disservice to an album putting it at the bottom of the list. But and again, in doing these lists, these albums have to go in some kind of an order. So I will attempt to give you my top 8 albums of 81. Again, it's a varied list here. Coming in at number 8 is an album from a Canadian band. It was their fifth release for them. They were signed to RCA in the US and Attic in Canada. They would eventually sign with MCA in the mid 80s. The band is Triumph, and the album is Allied Forces. Heavy album, fantastic. Um, Full balls to the wall rock album. Starts off with Fool for Your Love, then Magic Power, the breakout single from this album. Then it goes into the 1 minute plus interlude of Air Raid, where you literally feel like you're being dive bombed by planes. That segues into the massive title track, Fast Paced Rocker. My favorite track, the 6 minute plus, Fight the Good Fight. And of course, the near the end of the album, track 8, the 1 minute, 23 second, beautiful acoustic, if I say this right, Petite Etude or Etude. Okay. My apologies if I said that wrong. But yeah, this was a fantastic album. It is considered by many to be their signature album. They would go on to release Never Surrender after this in 83. But fantastic. This follows up their album Progressions of Power from 80. Great album. Now, here's where we diverge a little bit. Number 7 from the Human League, Dare. Came out in 81, featuring the singles Don't You Want Me, Open Your Heart, Love Action, I Believe in Love. Also, other tracks include Seconds, the B-side to Don't You Want Me, I Am the Law. These are the things that dreams are made of. Get Carter, fantastic album. The lead-off single, Don't You Want Me, was all over the place in 81, all over the radio. The up-and-coming music channels that were starting to crop up in Canada and in the US were playing the video for this track, the track of Don't You Want Me, all the time. The video made a definite statement. Basically, the track itself talked about a guy who was pining for his girlfriend, who he basically discovered, turned her into an actress, and she decided to walk away from him. And he's saying, "You better change your mind, or we will both be sorry." Meaning, you better be with me or else, which is a very disturbing thought. But the melody is catchy, it's hooky. This was one of the first albums that when I looked at the credits, because I like to do and sit there and do that, I noticed that it was entirely performed using drum machines and keyboards, synth bass, etc. No guitars, no live instrumentation, all computerized basically. It was innovative. And unfortunately, I mean, they did have another peak with their album Crash, featuring the track Human in 1986, but it never did match the success of Dare, either here or I believe in the UK. Fantastic album. In 1982, 7 of the tracks on this album were taken by producer Martin Rushent, who unfortunately is no longer with us, and they were remixed. And they were put together on an album called Love and Dancing. If you can find it, there's a German copy of Dare combined with Love and Dancing and on one CD. It is amazing. On that album, Love and Dancing, you have a 7-minute plus version of Don't You Want Me. That track, again, was the bomb, okay? And it was infectious. So, but it is number 7 on my list. Coming in at number 6 is the 4th album from Foreigner, simply called 4. Produced by Robert John Mutt Lang, who would go on to produce AC/DC and more prominently Def Leppard. This was the album from 1981, released on Atlantic Records. Dare, I should say, was released on Virgin Records. Again, back to 4. It was the album, again, released on Atlantic, featuring the 3 hits that I knew of: Urgent, Jukebox Hero, and Waiting for a Girl Like You, who would that track would later be featured in the movie Footloose. But I did not know that there were 4 other singles released, and they were Luann, Break It Up, Girl on the Moon, and Don't Let Go. Mutt Lang had said that when he worked with Def Leppard to produce Hysteria, he had said to them, why can't we have 7 singles released off of an album? He did it with 4 in 1981. It is a good album. Lou Gramm on lead vocals, fantastic, featuring keyboard work done by Thomas Dolby, who would go on to work again with Def Leppard under a pseudonym, and he would have future success, minor success himself, moderate success with Submarines and Blinding Me with Science, and then Hyperactive in 1984. But 404, fantastic album. It was all over the place, all over the charts. I do believe it went something like 9 times platinum in the US. Ridiculous, but fantastic nonetheless. Coming in at number 5, told you this is going to go all over the map. Black Sabbath, Mob Rules. Blistering album. Amazing. Guttural. Relentless. Unforgiving. Rock. Balls to the wall. Rock. Second release with Ronnie James Dio on lead vocals. I've always loved Dio with Sabbath. I've said I do believe that Dio's vocal work with Sabbath was more melodic, more memorable than Ozzy Osbourne. I'm not knocking Ozzy, but the 3 albums that he did, that Dio did with Black Sabbath, were amazing. Mob Rule starts off with Turn Up the Night. Again, guttural is all hell. Guitars and heavy drums all over the place. At this point, Billboard is out of the band. Vinny Appice, I believe it's either Appice or Appice, I'm not sure, but I believe it's Appice, is on drums. Heavy as all hell. Bloody, unrelenting on the drums. Just does not give up, does not, hit a bad note, or like he is keeping in time with the drums. Other songs following Turn Up the Night. Voodoo. Fantastic. Again, heavy. the brutal sign of the Southern Cross. That's all that can be said. The sign of the Southern Cross. That's it. That's it. I mean, it is that good. And that, again, unforgiving, and that honest, and that just naked and sinister. I mean, there is a determination in Ronnie James Dio's vocals that I don't believe I heard on Heaven and Hell. I have both. I love Heaven and Hell, but to me, Mob Rules trumps it big time. Unbelievable. And the title track, okay, with the chorus, when you listen to Fools, the Mob Rules. There you go. There you go. That mob mentality, that mentality of don't listen to reason, just go with what you feel, and just, you know, be as destructive as you want to be. That doesn't always work. That's why the lyrics, when you listen to Fools, the Mob Rules, you know, amazing. The version of this on this album, I do not believe it is the original version. There is a version, sorry, on the soundtrack to Heavy Metal. And from what I read, that version that you hear in the movie was recorded at John Lennon's home. Fantastic album. Amazing. Coming in at number 4 is Rolling Stones' Tattoo You. This was the first time I really paid attention to the Rolling Stones. This album was a number 1 hit. It was a monster of an album. The tracks that make up this album were tracks that were recorded for previous albums but weren't finished. So the story goes was that they had a tour booked, a massive tour booked, I believe, of North America and in the UK, and they didn't have enough time to write new material. So they took these tracks, finished them up, and put them out. And they're fantastic. The tracks range back to 1973 to Goat's Head Soup. Songs like Start Me Up. Everyone knows Start Me Up. You hear that opening riff, you know what it is. It's unmistakable. Okay. What else can be said? I mean, other songs like Hang Fire, Slave, you know, Black Limousine. My favorite, Waiting on a Friend, which ends the album. Beautiful ballad type, very laid back. That was the one track that started when they were recording Goat's Head Soup. I think it's a beautiful track. I think it's very melodic. I think it's just very poignant, you know. Fantastic album. Again, this was the first album that I really took notice of the Rolling Stones. Where am I here? Coming in at number 3. This is probably going to get me into some trouble, but it's Genesis with Abacab. Now, as you can tell, I put 2 versions of the album cover side by side to show you that when the album was released, they did 4 different cover variations of the color schemes for 4 different territories. This album, again, released in 81, produced by Hugh Padgham, the first time they had worked with Hugh Padgham in the studio. They last worked on Duke with Dave Henshaw, and fantastic follow-up to Duke. This album, more streamlined in production in terms of songs like No Reply at All, Me and Sarah Jane. You do have lengthy tracks like Dodo Lurker, sorry, The title track, my favorite track on here is Keep It Dark, where it's about this guy who, I mean, first of all, the instrumentation comes across to me as very minimal, but I'm sure it's not. The track talks about this guy who is abducted by aliens, and he's brought back down to Earth after his abduction, and he's told to not repeat what he's seen or what he's experienced. And he goes back home and he tries to keep it to himself, the experiences that he had witnessed and been through. And he's just amazed at what he saw. Fantastic album, all over the place. The lead off single, No Reply at All, very radio friendly, fantastic, featuring the Phoenix Horns. I do believe it is the Phoenix Horns, Earth, Wind, and Fire. Great, very accessible album. Some people say it's not the Genesis they like, but again, they were changing with the times, right? There were certain bands that needed to change with their musical direction in order to keep themselves interested in what they were doing. Actually, I put Abacab and Duke neck and neck in terms of musical content and accessibility. So yeah, that's number 3. Coming in at number 2, another Canadian band from Toronto, Rush with Moving Pictures. Released in 1991 through Anthem Entertainment and Mercury Records in the US. This is Rush's breakthrough album. As you can tell, I put the original album cover and the album cover for the 40th anniversary edition, which I do have. That edition features a concert, double disc concert from Toronto at Maple Leaf Gardens, March 31st, 1981, I believe. Fantastic concert. If you want to know a concert that is considered to be, my opinion, the best Rush concert, get that collection. It is amazing. And if you want to get that collection, it only goes for about $42.99 on Amazon right now. But back to the album. Again, 7 tracks, both short and lengthier tracks like Red Barchetta, The Camera Eye. Fantastic album. Leading off with Tom Sawyer, one of the most unrecognizable, the most recognizable track ever by any band anywhere. Amazing. Also Red Barchetta, like I said. YYZ, fantastic instrumental. When they played that track YYZ, it would stretch out to be at least, because the studio version is only 4 minutes and change, the instrumental live would stretch out to be something like 7 minutes plus. Fantastic arrangement, some funky guitar passages from Alex Lifeson. Fantastic album. And also featuring Vital Signs. Some people don't like that track, but you know what? They were doing something different. They were trying something new. And you know what? It works. It bloody well works. Okay, now, coming in at number 1, this is going to probably piss off some people. But as I said, this list is varied. You ready for it? Coming in at number 1, Prince with Controversy. Okay, you're still watching. Good. Controversy, his 4th release, released in 1981, recorded at Sunset Sound. He, for the first I'd say 5 albums, recorded everything himself with additional overdubs done by Lisa Coleman, Matt Fink, Des Dickerson on guitar. Fantastic album, 8 tracks. There is supposed to be at some point in time, excuse me, a deluxe set coming out of Controversy, but right now I will gladly make do with the Diamonds and Pearls box set coming out October 27th. But getting back to Controversy, his 4th album, he was experimenting. It's disco, it is funk, it is new wave, it is R&B, it is dance, it is controversial, it is all rockabilly with songs that jack you off. Okay, Run You Talk to Russia. Okay, the most political track that you would, that and Any Christian. Okay, other songs, Private Joy, Let's Work, which was I believe a 4th single from the album. The singles that were known from the album were the title track, 7-minute plus Controversy, Disco Galore, I'm Sorry, Funk is all get out, Sexuality, which is more like the new wave kind of stuff that he wanted to do, Do Me Baby, which later on created some controversy of its own because it stated that it's been stated that that Andre Simone did write that song. He wrote the music for it, and Prince basically took credit for it, but it's never been verified. I don't believe so. But the 3 tracks on the one side, the 5 tracks on the other, hell of an album. I have gained a new respect for this album. I listen to this album quite a lot. I think it's fantastic. I think that Prince was on top of his game. And this was an artist that basically did whatever the hell he wanted to do. And you can never fault an artist for doing that. All right. So that is my list. I'll go through it again. 8 Allied Forces from Triumph, 7 Dare from the Human League, 6 4 from Foreigner, number 5 The Mob Rules from Black Sabbath, number 4 Tattoo You from Rolling Stones, number 3 Abacab and Genesis with Abacab, and number 2 Moving Pictures from Rush, and number 1 Controversy from Prince. That's my list. So please, down below, please put your list. Let me know what you think of this list. Do you like it? Do you disagree? Do you agree? Put your list down. Please let me know what you think, because again, I like to get a bit of a dialogue going here. And again, please, enjoy the show, and please stay tuned for other content I've got coming up. I will be doing a show with Mr. Grant Arthur from Grant's Rock Warehouse. We're taping our episode on the Tea Party's 4th release, Triptych. We're going to be talking about that album. Triptych released in 1999 through EMI Canada. I will be doing a show also with Bill Schuster on Friday. We'll be doing part 4 of New Music Discovery, Joe Jackson. So please stay tuned for that. And I will be doing a show with Mr. Peter Kent on the Cars, ranking the albums. It won't be a long episode. They have 7 albums, so we're going to be doing an episode on that. So please stay tuned for all that, and click like and subscribe, and hit the notification bell to keep yourselves on top of any new content that I've got coming up. I will be doing another album spotlight on Aerosmith, Done with Mirrors. Okay, so that's coming up for Thursday. So please stay tuned for that. And I am Armando Venditti, and I will see you very soon. Bye for now.